Hi everyone. Today I wanted to talk about books that I constantly reread. I love reading and I love audiobooks. So here are some of the books that I've actually read and have on audiobook, and I constantly listen to them or read them or try to find graphic novels of them just because I really, really enjoy them. So the first couple are YA books. And the first two are My Lady Jane and My Plain Jane. So the reason why I like these ones because they have so much humor in them, and they have the feeling of like happily ever after. So this is the story of Lady Jane Grey, and it gives her a happier ending than what she actually had in real life. But there's just so much humor, and the way the book is written is just really good. And I think I have at least 3 or 4 editions of this. I have like the British edition, and then a signed edition, and just some other ones, just because I really enjoy this book. Again, about Lady Jane Grey, and she's like one of my favorite characters in history, so I had to. That kind of first got me to the book, but then I read it and I really enjoyed it. And secondly is by the same authors and kind of in the same set is My Plain Jane, and this is a retelling of Jane Eyre. And we'll probably talk more about Jane Eyre a little later, but I love the story of Jane Eyre, and they have this. They just make they have so much humor in it. And just the little things they put in. There's a scene where one of the characters is reading a newspaper, and she reads the marriage announcement of a Emma Woodhouse, and there's a little nod to Jane Austen, or just funny things they say about the royals. So anyway, I really enjoyed this one also. So those were 2 books I constantly find myself rereading or re-listening to, even if I just have it in the background, because I enjoy them so much. Another one is one probably a lot of people reread. I've heard people read this like once a year. Are the Harry Potter books, of course. I have read the physical copies maybe once or twice, and then I've listened to the audiobooks, the whole series, at least 3 or 4 times, and there's 7 books in the series. But that is just because Harry Potter is such a great series to read. So altogether, by rereading the physical book and audiobooks, I've probably read all 7 books at least 5-6 times, because I just really enjoy the stories and the world building, and just Harry Potter. I just love this series. So those are kind of like the YA young adult books. And even though these are young adult books, a good story has no age limit. I think it was C.S. Lewis who said, it doesn't matter if it's a children's story. A children's story, just a story well written, it just resounds with everybody. He said something like that. Another book that I've read quite a few times, and I want to reread it again soon, is The 6 Wives of Henry VIII by Alison Weir. I've probably reread this book at least 4 or 5 times, just because these are such fascinating women, and the time period was just very interesting, and the court intrigue, and I like knowing about the royals. The way she writes is just it's very easy to understand like what is happening, and like who were the players at that time in the court. So just over the past 10-15 years, I've read it quite a bit. She has other books. There's the Children of King Henry VIII, and then there's I think I have a set of 3 or 4, and I've actually read like Children of King Henry VIII about 4 or 5 times also. But definitely these books, they're just very interesting, and it's a time period I like, so I've reread this quite a few times. And the next few are classics. One I kind of already talked about. I just pulled one of my copies. I think I have like 3 or 4 copies of Jane Eyre. Not as much as Pride and Prejudice, but I do have a few copies of Jane Eyre. And this story is just such a good story, and I always laugh because when I was younger, I never liked it. I was like, how could she like Mr. Rochester? And he was married, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And once I read it again when I got older, I just really, really like the book. I've reread this book at least 5, 6 times. The characters, Jane Eyre is one of the characters that I just really, really like. And you kind of see where she's coming from the more you read it. Like I think with all these books, the more times you read it, you catch different things. In the first couple books, some of the jokes. Oh, I didn't catch that before. Or in Harry Potter, oh, I remember this person. Or in the 6 Wives of King Henry VIII, that makes this event even more interesting. And again, that's exactly what happens with Jane Eyre. I read it again and I'm like, oh, just the monologue of when this happened in the language just gets you again and again. So I really enjoy Jane Eyre. The other one I have Pride and Prejudice. This kind of represents all the Jane Austen books. I have read all the Jane Austen books several times. Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion and Northanger Abbey, probably the most I've reread. I've 6, 7, 8 times. Mansfield Park, maybe 2 or 3 times. Sense and Sensibility, 2, 3 times. But definitely Emma, Pride and Prejudice, Northanger Abbey, and especially Pride and Prejudice, I've reread several times. This is such a great classic. My favorite book. And you guys have probably heard me talk a lot about it. Just the humor, the characterizations, the language in these books is just great. And some other classics that I have reread way more than once. I'll probably put some pictures up because I don't actually have physical copies of this one. I either got them from the library or listened to them on audio, or stored some of them away. But they are the Agatha Christie books, the Agatha Christie mysteries. I have reread a lot of her books, and I super enjoy them. I remember as a child, the first book I read or was acquainted with her was the Mirror Cracked from Side to Side, and I thought that was interesting. But then I started getting into the Miss Marple, and that was a Miss Marple mystery. So I started kind of getting into the Miss Marple mysteries, and then Agatha Christie wrote way more of Hercule Poirot mysteries. So I started reading the Hercule Poirot mysteries, and I've reread Murder on the Orient Express at least 3 or 4 times. I've read a lot of the mysteries 3 or 4 times. I think my favorites, I have a video actually on Agatha Christie, and I go through my favorites. But I have that one, Murder on the Links. Not necessarily my favorite, but I've listened to that story so many times. So the Agatha Christie mysteries I've reread so many times. Anyway, so that was on my mind recently, just rereading books and why that I've been rereading books, and just the things that I like about the books that I've been rereading. Anyway, hope you like this video. Like and subscribe, and let me know what books that you've reread more than once in the comments below so that I know. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.